Joining me now, Republican Senator from Indiana, Mike Braun. Senator, a pleasure to see you. Who are you backing as the Republican leader in the Senate, and why?
That was the most robust conversation we've had as a caucus since I've been here in the Senate. And I think, Dagan, it's clearly due to one reason. The election was so highly touted. I never did quite get that feel, but since I've been here, I've said we've got to have a business plan for the country that we can articulate and lay out. Clearly, independents broke the Democrats' way, and they will do that by default. If we're trying to tell people to vote for us, we'll tell you after election. I don't think that works. So we had a robust conversation. Competition should be invited, and we will at least have a competitive vote to where Rick will make his case, the leader will make his case, and then we'll all vote. And by the way, all of us want to be more involved in the process going forward. We don't want 2,000-page bills dumped in our lap the day before that have all been concocted behind closed doors.
But, Senator, who are you backing?
I'm going to back Rick. He and I came in together. We are outsiders that have actually run something. He was governor for 2 terms in Florida when the state was in the red financially. Look what they've done down there under his administration and now DeSantis's. So I think clearly that he's got a track record that addresses what I think resonates more broadly through the Republican Party. And unless we want to always have a Hail Mary attempt at winning a presidential election or these swing state Senate seats, we got to offer something different. What are we for?
In terms of, well, what are your issues with Mitch McConnell?
Well, since I've been here, I came here to reform health care, did it in my own business. There's no interest in that. The health care lobby, I think, dictates what not only Schumer does, but what leadership does in our party. That's got to change. That is a real issue. I'm a conservative that likes to get involved in the issues, not having those decided behind closed doors. This has evolved here. Mitch has done a great job politically when it comes to judges, making appointments into the cabinet when we've got power. But look at it. Democrats have set the legislation since the Great Society days. It's baselined into the new dynamic we deal with. We never undo anything, and we're borrowing from our kids and grandkids on the crazy spending that we've been doing.
Senator Braun, and I know that the Republicans should not and do not take calls from, literal calls from Chuck Schumer, but he did bring up the issue of Rick Scott's plan that he put out in February of this year, and it does go into, putting up for reauthorization I believe in his plan it's every 5 years. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that would include Social Security and Medicare, and that was used as a giant baseball bat against Republican candidates from coast to coast by the Democrats. What do you say to that, given your backing of Rick Scott for leader?
When I ran back in 2018, the negative advertising that came across from Schumer and his PACs, that doesn't surprise me. Obviously, Rick meant that since the Medicare Trust Fund is going to go broke in 4 years, the Social Security Trust Fund in about 9 years, that it needs to be reformed, or it won't be there for anyone who's counting on it. And then our side piled on and agreed with Schumer. Rick was making the point that if we keep going down the trail we've gone down, 18 trillion in debt when I got here, when he got here, we're now 31 trillion in debt. We're going to have a much bigger problem down the road. Rick obviously meant save it, don't get rid of it, but nobody wants to make those hard decisions here.
Well, I will say, and I've brought this up for months or more than a year. Here are the 19 Republican senators who voted in favor of the infrastructure bill. And there are 17 Republican senators who voted in favor of the CHIPS boondoggle. Mitch McConnell voted yay for both of these. And bipartisanship is meaningless if it's bad for the country and it adds to the national debt. And if it juices inflation when inflation was the #1 issue for voters. Did this fact, so I think total Republicans, and there were some in the House, co-signed on to at least $1.3 trillion in new non-defense spending during this Congress. Did this factor into your support for Senator Rick Scott?
There's no doubt about it. And let's look, when is the last time we have drug 10 Democrats along with a Republican initiative? Never. So it begs the question, why are we accommodating them? We need to address these issues, but it's been through not smaller, more effective government. It's been borrowing it from our kids and grandkids, and we generally get on Democratic initiatives. You said it well. I think that needs to change.
Before we go, Senator, does Mitch McConnell have the votes to keep the leadership? He says he does.
Well, I'd say that he is good at vote counting, and I think for Mitch even, if he wants an engaged caucus where all of us participate, hopefully he'll take the message from what occurred today. He is likely, yes, to have those votes. I think it'll be closer than, I don't know that there's ever been a contested election for leadership. It needs to be contested. We need to have plenty of time to weigh in and make a choice, especially with the results we've been generating over the last couple decades.
Senator Braun, Senator Mike Braun from Indiana. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.